The frost made starburst patterns on all the windows, and the Pups were having a race. But on this day, Tanker's toboggan was the slowest. They had had a skating race, but Tanker fell and skidded most of the way. They threw snowballs over the fence, but all of Tanker's just hit it instead. When they came in to warm up, Tanker and Farrah played 2 games of checkers. He lost both. When the Pups switched to a card game of Go Fish, Tanker lost again. He was beginning to get upset. He decided that the next game he would win. The Pups gave him a chance to choose the next game. Usually Tanker was very good at pick-up sticks, but this time, I'm sorry to say, he lost again. And Tanker was very upset. He felt like all he could do was lose. The Pups decided to play carpet bowling, but Tanker didn't want to. He knew he wouldn't be able to hit the pins even if he stood right on top of them. And although it didn't make any sense, he began to think he would always lose. Tanker felt that he would never be good at games again. Soon he was sitting outside with me. I was very surprised to hear how he was feeling. I told him that playing a game wasn't always about winning. It was about having fun. He often won, but he just shook his head and told me not anymore. I was sorry to see him so sad. I wished I had some magic words for him. And when Dilly came out to see if he wanted to play dominoes, he swung his feet and paid no attention at all. I did whisper in his ear that we all have things we do well. Perhaps he could ask the Pups to play something that he was good at. I know Tanker heard me, but he just sat there as if I hadn't said a thing. And it was just then that the alarm rang. I nearly jumped out of my hubcap. I was so surprised. Pups came running from all directions, and in 2 flashes of my light, we were off. When we got to the plaza, the Pups jumped off and slowly started looking for Enid Arachnid. Arachnid means spider, by the way, and that's why they had to go slowly. Enid was pretty small and hard to see. Smudge finally spotted her waving with 5 legs. She was inside the main hall of the plaza. She told the Pups that when she crossed the street, she'd been very careful and looked both ways. And she'd hurried across without running and arrived safely at the plaza. But when she got there, she was so relieved to be safe from traffic, she didn't look where she was going. She plunged her 2 feet into a great big wad of juicy bubble gum. Now she was thoroughly stuck. Usually she was pretty good at looking where she was going, but today she was having a strange day. The problem was even worse because as she struggled to get out, she managed to get another foot stuck in the gum too. And she pulled one foot up to show us how sticky it was, and believe me, it was sticky. Well, outside, the Pups tried to think of a way to help Enid. And after a while, Dilly asked if gum got hard when it was cold. I told her it did. That was all she needed to know. Dilly whipped around to the back and whizzed right back with some ice. Her plan was to harden the gum with it until it wasn't sticky anymore. The idea was brilliant, and the Pups raced to Enid's rescue. Tanker put a tissue over Enid to keep her warm. Dilly put ice on the gum. Soon the sticky stuff was hard and crackly. Enid was a bit chilly too, but as the ice hardened, it stopped being sticky. After a few minutes, Enid could pull her legs out. She was very happy and gave Dilly an 8-legged hug. She told the Pups and me that some days, no matter how hard you try, things don't work out the way you want them. And on our way back to the fire station, the Pups were deciding what to do next. Actually, the problem was that no one could decide what to do. At the fire station, they hurried off without Tanker. Tanker leaned against me. He told me he wanted to play, but didn't know what he'd be good at. I didn't say anything. Then all of a sudden, Tanker jumped up with joy. He had the best, most excellent idea. They would have a snowman building contest. I don't have to tell you that all the pups loved the idea and hurried to get shovels, and soon all of them were digging and rolling and laughing. Even Tanker. They was racing into the fire station, bringing things out. They was scooping and packing and yells of joy as the pups tried hard to make a really good snowman. Tanker finished first and waited for the others. The other 3 pups were so busy working on their sculptures, they didn't even have time to look up and notice Tanker's. I just knew that they were going to love it when they did. And when they were finished, the others all looked up at the same time. They were impressed because Tanker had the most amazing snowman of all. He smiled, so happy to have been good at something that day, and he was. He made a snowman of a pup with a fire hat and a coat on. The other pups clapped because it was truly a masterpiece. Tanker began to feel like his old self again. Tanker thanked me for helping him to think of something he could be good at. I told him he'd thought of it all by himself. The next time you feel you're not very good at anything, remember Tanker's snowman. I know you'll think of something splendid and marvelous that you can do.